Hi everyone, my name is Laurie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be taking this Jonah Hex Lila from the Tonner Doll Company and changing her into a beautiful red carpet Megan Fox. And also I get to show you how I do tattoos, both decal that I make and hand painted. And I'm going to do a little demo on how to make rerooting just a little bit easier. Not a whole reroot, just a little demo. Anyway, I will see you on the other side of my intro where we'll get started. Okay, so here she is, isn't she? She's a beautiful doll, but she's not exactly a perfect match for Megan Fox. For some reason, her sculpt isn't exactly, it's pretty close, but not there. I actually think once you take off all her face paint that she looks a lot like Emily Blunt. But I'm just thinking out loud. I think I could get a great Emily Blunt out of this doll. However, she is getting harder and harder to find, being that the Tonner Doll Company doesn't produce dolls anymore. Now we're just relying on secondhand dolls that other people have that just they want to get rid of or whatever. And that can make the doll pretty expensive. Anyway, here I am just taking a regular Q-tip and removing the face very carefully with acetone. And I try to just keep it on the area where there's paint. If you can notice, I'm not taking off the entire face. If I can avoid it, I don't want to drip any kind of acetone anywhere. And I've already rerooted the doll. She just needs a little bit of the part done. And then for some reason, I forgot to do the shading on the doll and film it. So sorry about that. I don't know what happened. So we're just going to start right with the repaint. And I am using the new Liquitex that I had used in prior videos. I'll link it below. It's the one that is a mix, apparently, of regular acrylic and gouache, but I think it's probably just a really matte acrylic. I'll link up everything that I use in the process of making a doll below, just as usual. You can go back to old videos too and find all my links. I try to keep up with that. If you've never been to my channel before, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. If you would like to, click the like button and hit subscribe. That would be awesome. I really appreciate it. So what I'm doing here is let's just go back a little bit. First, what I did was I took pan pastels. I sprayed the doll with Mr. Super Clear. It'll be linked below, along with all the supplies. And then I went over the face and I strategically shade the doll to look more like Megan Fox. So I haven't done any resculpting on her face at all. I just used paint and shading so that I could get her features right. Once I felt like that I got the features down, then I sketched in her eyes and her lips and and just started to paint them in. I'm just trying to get, at this point of the repaint, I'm just trying to get everything balanced. That's my goal. And that's why her eyes are kind of like dark, because all I'm doing really is just balancing the features to make sure everything's even. And if you can notice, I have her head off of her body this time. So now I get to flip it up and down, which, I don't normally do. I'm a little bit lazy about taking the head off the body, but I had to reroot her, so why not? So I know I said I was going to have Ariel done next, and she is super close. And I also have an Eric following up, and I already started those videos. They're being, worked on, but the dolls aren't quite finished. So I decided I needed to finish up Megan Fox because she's also been sitting here. And I think that during the current situation that we're in, I've had moments where getting going has been more difficult than usual, or I've stopped to do projects in the house, make masks. I've made a few. I'm not making hundreds or anything like that, but I've made a few for family members. And it's just, or friends. And it's just taken up some time. I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people are experiencing some creative blocks during this period, and I'm hoping that it'll pass soon and we'll get back to normal. I don't know if there's ever going to be a normal again, maybe a new normal. I know I'm taking on a lot of different things. I did a head sculpt that I'm super excited about. I can't talk about it yet, but when I do, I didn't film it or anything because it was my first one, so I was really tentative about it, but it was fun to do it. And I had my friend Susan explain to me how to get a head on the body. I really appreciate that. And more sewing. I'm learning to do more difficult sewing, which is fun. And again, I have another friend. I'm part of a repaint society, and I have a lot of friends, and we all have talents that are different. You know, a lot of the same ones, but a lot of different talents, or we all have different knowledge. And I can say that being part of that group has really helped me grow as an artist. Everybody else agrees too, but my friend Aysun from Germany was helping me to make my first collared man shirt, because I am making a style, oh gosh, now I don't even know how to say his name. Styles, I think his name is Styles, from Teen Wolf. And I might film that one because I think it would be really fun. Sewing the collar on a doll shirt. Oh my God. The first one that I did was just a sample one. I used the craziest fabric, and then of course the collar turned out to look super 70s, and I kind of have to laugh about it, but anyway, I think I'll do him in a video. I think it would be a lot of fun, and he's a man doll, so watching a process of a man doll, well, of course Eric is a man doll too, but I didn't make his costume. That was done by Morgan May. I'm making the gown for Ariel, but I did not take on the Prince costume. That was just way above my abilities right now, or at least my confidence level. Anyway, this is another day that I'm recording this because I didn't like the voiceover up to this point, and so here I am back again, and it's Monday. I don't know why this video is taking me so long to make. Just a lot of different elements. We had a backup for the washing machine, and we had to have a guy come out and fix that. That was Friday that he fixed it, so I had to do a lot of laundry. And then my husband bought a pressure washer, and we spent all day yesterday pressure washing. I don't know, I've just been distracted. Oh, and on Saturday I made that shirt for Styles that I mentioned before. Anyway, let me get back to this repaint. So right here I am working on, I'm just looking at the video here, I'm just trying to get all the features in. And I know that I'd like to mention this pencil that I'm using right here. That is a pastel pencil, and I love to do this and then just sort of buff it out. You can use anything, but the pastel pencil really gets in there tight, and then you can just go back in with a little brush or a little tool, and then that way you can smooth it out so it's not like a harsh line. I love to do that with the highlights. I'll end up having to spray her multiple times in between all of these different jobs. And the lips, I don't know what was going on. I kept on highlighting them, and then I get them darker, and then I highlight them, end up fixing them later. But then I just stopped and just put some teeth in. So that's what I'm doing here, because often Megan Fox has kind of like a partially open mouth. So it helps with the likeness if you can just pick out those things that people do normally. And for her, most of her pictures are open mouth. So I went ahead and just added the teeth here. And I'll get those all, I'll get all the lines and I'll make them look right. It's not going to be just one white slab. But anyhow, I will be using the little tool. I can never remember the name of it, but it's got like a little fuzzy end, a little fuzzy tip. And the one that I used on her was a little bit maybe too fat because I wanted to smoke out her eye makeup, which is what I'm going to do coming up. And when I did it, the under eyes got a little bit too dark. So what you would want to do, because I didn't show it, what you would want to do if you ever put too much on there and you've already sprayed the doll multiple times, so you can't just go in there and, you know, just remove it, because then it's going to leave a big line from where you remove stuff back down to the vinyl, you know, with like layers of spray, and, you know, it just doesn't look right. So what you would want to do is spray the doll and then put a layer of sort of a skin tone over top, and then spray again, and just keep repeating until you get it where you want it to be. I think for her, because I did the under eyes a little too dark, it probably took about 3 times before I got it right. And she's also going to have applied lashes, which I don't always do on my dolls, but in this particular case, the client wanted to have the painted lashes as well as the applied lashes. So I order my lashes on Amazon, and I can put a link below. I may have in other videos. I probably did on the Sabrina video. The lashes, I like the strip lashes. For me, they're just easy. I can kind of, hold on just a second, because I want to talk about this. So I just showed where I did the nostrils. And I want to say another thing. When you're doing a likeness on someone, you really want to try to get the nostril shape correct. It just adds so much to the likeness. So right now what I'm doing is I'm putting in the fine details of the eyes and sort of balancing out that sphere from light to dark on one side. And she has very pretty, really bright blue eyes. So I try to keep it, you know, as close to the color as possible. But I probably have a tendency to make the eyes maybe a little brighter than the actual person's. It's just, you know, because it's so pretty. And I don't really have any tricks on how I get the iris in. I mean, not the iris, but the pupil. If you'll see here in just a moment, I have a really crooked pupil on this side. And what I'll do is when I put it in and I'll see that, you know, maybe my hand jerked or whatever, and, you know, it went over to the side, I'll just quickly wash my brush off and just start balancing it that way. And if I can't, then what I'll do is I'll just paint around it again with a white or blue color to balance it out. But you can see here, it fixed up pretty easily. You know, sometimes you have to be patient. If you don't have patience, the paint is so small on a doll that you could just blow it dry with a blow dryer, but you don't normally have to. So this is the giant tool I used under her eye, and in retrospect, it was too big for the smoky look. It's pretty, it looks pretty, but it was just a little bit more eye makeup under her eye that she had. So I do end up going back and fixing that because I got just a little too crazy with it. But I'm about to go into a rerooting. So I'm going to leave off. Oh yeah, look what I did there. Whoopsies. So I had to fix that because I got some drop on her face, but a little, because you don't want to use any kind of remover. All I did was a little bit of a damp Q-tip here and just rubbed it away before it like really settled into the face. But the reroot's coming up, and I'm just going to do a quick little demo on how I make rerooting easy for me. So I'll see you on that side. Oh yeah, quickly, I almost forgot. I think I might be showing how I put the white under the eyes, or the light color under the eyes. Kind of gives the look of when somebody puts, see how I did that right there? That's how I did the fix up. So I did show some of it, a little bit. Anyway, on to the rerooting. going to use this rooting tool to root the hair in with. So you can see these little two prongs here that grabs the hair, and you can just push it right into the head. But here's the problem. If you're working with a toner doll, often I hear people say they break their tools a lot. And I don't really break mine very often, and that's thanks to a friend who explained to me how she does it so that she doesn't go through a bunch of tools. So here we go. What I'm going to do is I've had this doll sitting in the heating pad, and there's a push pin where I want to put the hair. So I've just pushed that right into there, and this is going to enlarge the hole. And then I keep it in the heating pad while I gather hair. And to keep the hair from kind of just like getting out of control, I use just a small amount at a time, just little sections, and I spritz it down with water, and that keeps the hair controlled. So I'm just going to pull, I want to pull extra because this is going to be for a part, so this is a lot more hair that you would normally push through, but I need to have the hair go on both sides of the head. So I am just pushing it through the tool. I don't know if you can see that. Let me try it again. I'm going to push it. Try to get it all. All right, I had it. Okay, I pushed it through the tool, so you can see that. I'll make sure it's even, and then I'll take the doll head out. Let me get rid of this. Let me set it down for a second and pull this out, and you might be able to see the hole. You might not be able to. You want to get it in there really quick, right where you had it. Okay, I pushed it in without, I had to move. And then you just sort of part the hair. And there you go. You've got that in there without damaging your tool. And it's super soft, and then the hole's bigger, so it just works. Okay, unfortunately the curling iron is way too melty for my doll hair, and I've already blown it dry, having tested it on a sample piece. And the curling iron was not as hot as it is right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up rolling it. So I'm just going to grab paper and my straws and set this hair. So I really want big straws, so we're looking at something like this, like a really big straw. I'm going to get some papers. Okay, so I've got my hair here, and we're just going to do a sample, and then I'm just going to finish up the hair and not record it because it's, you know, there's not much to see here. Just going to make sure the hair is nice and wet, so I've spritzed it down really good, and we're going to go old-fashioned with the straws. So I might actually need 2 pieces of paper because I've done layers, and so it's kind of, I can lay one on top of the other. If you can see how I'm doing that. So I'm laying one on top of the other. I'm going to pull it out as far as I can. And I will, you won't be able to see it, but until I get it up there. I'm going to go ahead and put the straw up. Let's move that camera so you can see. So I'm just going to put the straw up. I'm losing some pieces of hair. So what I'll do is I'll spritz it again. And I'll grab another paper. I want to control all this hair. So let me pull this paper down. And I'll just tuck it in like that. And that paper, the extra paper, will control it. Sorry, my thing is really too close. It might not be useful at all. Okay, so I put a lot of papers in to hold it, and I just rolled it straight back. And I'm going to do big curls like this because I don't want it to be super curly. I just want it to be wavy. So I'm just going for a wavy look. And finally, we're to the tattooing part, which is a lot of fun. And I have to thank my friend Monica, also from the Repaint Society, for telling me how she does tattoos. I also read up on it on the internet. So what I do is I print those out on this slick paper. It's like a water slick paper. Can't remember the name of it, but I'll put it below. And then, so you make the little tattoos and you print them, and then you, just like a decal, soak them in water, and when they come off, I just put them right on the back. Now, I personally put some Mod Podge on the doll because I want to make sure it's going to stick, but Monica tells me that's not necessary. So, of course, I found that out later. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really change anything. The Mod Podge is a terrific tool for the doll artist. After this dried, I think I might have put a blow dryer to it a little bit just to kind of get it to dry, and used a brush, of course, just to smooth it out and everything. But once it's dry, I'll go over it a couple of times with the Mod Podge mat just to kind of fill the edges in so it's more seamless to the doll's, body. You're always going to be able to see a little bit of that ledge, but I try very hard to hide it. And then I will spray it with a Mr. Super Clear and go back and do some pan pastels on top of it to kind of blend it in. But right now I have moved on to doing Marilyn Monroe on her forearm. And this, the tattoo, I couldn't find anything that would work for me. I guess I could have drawn it and made a decal out of it, but typically what I do is I just paint it, right on the doll. So I just sprayed her forearm with the Mr. Super Clear and sketched it in with a black pencil. I think I used an ARTEZA black pencil. And then I will go back over that with paint. And then again, I will spray that with Mr. Super Clear on top of it. And I will do a little bit of pan pastels. And what that does is it makes the tattoo look a little bit more natural, because tattoos, unless they're just like freshly inked, don't look like super black. They are usually a little bit faded from the sun and wear and time. So if you put a little bit of skin tone over top of it, I think it's burnt sienna tint is what it's called in the pan pastels, and then spray it with a Mr. Super Clear. It'll give it a nice matte finish with just a little bit of make it look a little bit more natural. But really, that's just, that's not really the trickiest part, I think, is getting the decals on smooth, because, they can get a little wrinkles and things on them. And I may have been causing myself more problems by putting the Mod Podge underneath the doll than necessary, because Monica says that once you print it out, that I think she said she sprays the slick paper, prints it, and then sprays the slick paper again, and then her decal is kind of like sandwiched between it. And I don't do that. I didn't spray the paper first. But she knows better than me. She's done way more decal tattoos than I have. So next time I do it, I'm going to do it that way. But it's pretty easy. And like I said, I'll link below the paper that I use and the spray that you need to make it all work. So as you can see, I'm still working on Marilyn, and I put a little ruler there so you can kind of get the idea of how tiny it is. Maybe a half an inch tall. I'm not sure. I like to sketch it out a little bit with a pencil first. It doesn't have to be a colored pencil. It could just be a regular pencil. But if you don't spray the doll, a pencil's not going to really show up on the vinyl or the plastic of the doll. You really kind of need something with a tooth on it to help you get that pencil line. But I have a little pencil eraser. I think you've probably seen me use it here, where I could just draw and like kind of erase, draw and kind of erase, and you know, until I got some kind of balance. But the paint really made it pop. I also hand painted one on her ankle and another one on her wrist. But all of the other tattoos were decals. There's one on the back of her neck, one on each of her sides, the one on her back shoulder that I showed. And then she has like a moon and a star on her ankle, and she has this little, looks kind of like a yin-yang on her inner wrist. And that's all that I'm aware of. So I got all of those taken care of. And she is really close to being done. I think what I had to do with her hair was I curled it and then I put it up so that it could dry and, you know, stay curled. It's just a real loose curl. And then all I think I had to do was get her dressed. I made her a little bracelet, and I had to spray paint her shoes gold, but I didn't show either one of those processes, probably because I just wanted to finish her, and sometimes filming things can really slow things down. So I'll try to be better about that, where I just film every little piece, because making the bracelet was really kind of fun. She had like this gold looking bracelet that looked like it had like all these loops and twists. So I made that, and the shoes were really pretty easy. I just spray painted them gold and put a little suede padding on the bottom of them so that would look, you know, nice and finished. I found her some pretty gold hoop earrings, and then I think all that was left was painting her fingernails and toenails and applying those lashes and taking pictures. So that was it. And the dress that was made by Morgan May is absolutely beautiful. I'll definitely put her link below. But here she is. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Oh, geez, I said she was almost done. She wasn't. Sorry. This is where I forgot that I put this in here. This is where I put some pan pastels over top to kind of blend those things in so you can see how it looks, and also shade the body and make it look, you know, give it all its contours and everything. Just brings everything together, and you can see how her head is completely covered so I don't spray it anymore because her head is done. But I'm going to leave off, and I will see you guys next time in the next video. So I hope you enjoyed, and if you have any questions, please put them down below. Any suggestions for future videos? I know I'm going to be doing styles soon, like I mentioned before, because I'm going to do that doll next, because shirt is already made, so I can show you kind of like some pictures of the progress. But also, please like and subscribe if you've already subscribed. Thank you so much. I will see you next time. Bye.